Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and follow me on these social media platforms. Enjoy the video. Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super discussion video. Before we get into all of this, I just want to say hello to my guests today. Please welcome and say hello to World King Kanji. That's right, man. I'm going to say it once right every single video, but then I'm going to go back to kanji because that's the way I like to say it. I'm a good old Texan boy. But why don't you say hello to everyone listening?
Hello, everybody listening. I'm World King Kanji, and I'm really happy to be back on this channel. Mark, we always have such fun on this channel. We always have fun, intelligent, structured discussions, and that's what I like when I watch Dragon Ball content. So I'm really excited to talk about this, dude.
We have fun discussions. I wouldn't really say they're structured. But anyway, guys, you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. We're going to be talking about the next step in this Dragon Ball Super Saiyan evolution, transformation, whatnot. Because, okay, is it possible that Goku and Vegeta are going to stop using God Ki and God transformations in the future of Dragon Ball Super? Because, as we've seen throughout not only the Super television series, but also the upcoming movie, and we are going to get into spoilers here for Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Spoilers, to be fair.
Light, because yeah, you probably already heard about this on Twitter or somebody else's channel or something, but you know, if you don't want to be spoiled on anything, if you want to go in completely fresh, then I completely understand. Make sure to like and comment and subscribe onto this channel if you really want to, and also go ahead and check out Kanji if you're going to click off now. But with all that being said, let's get right into this. Dragon Ball Super Broly introduces a Super Saiyan transformation from Broly, as far as I'm understanding, because I haven't seen the movie and neither has Kanji, that Broly somehow taps into the Azaru power, the heritage, you know, the thing that ever since Vegeta, Raditz, and Nappa showed up, have been talking about. Goku lost his ability to go Azaru, and he's lost all of that in himself. Broly somehow taps into that power, and it makes him able to compete with Goku and Vegeta and learn on the fly, making them kind of ragdolls in the process. That's how the movie is structured, at least in terms of the fighting. So is it possible that Goku and Vegeta are going to figure out a way to tap into that same power? Or maybe Goku will focus more in the future about going Ultra Instinct, or we're going to have more fusion-like things instead of actually relying and going blue or red or whatever new transformation they're going to get that has anything to do with God Ki in the future. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, it's interesting though that you talk about like the different kind of transformations, like fusion, and bringing all these different things into it and the different kind of power-ups, etc. Because it really is that way that Dragon Ball works, where it likes to separate its transformations and its power-ups all together. You've had things like Ultra Instinct and Fusion, you've had things like the Super Saiyan transformations, we've had the God transformations, and then we've had different things where they haven't had God Ki, but they have been able to keep up with it. For instance, Jiren, Golden Frieza, Trunks, and even going as far as things with like Gohan as well. Like Gohan manages to keep up somewhat, Android 17. So at this point, is God Ki even really relevant anymore? Is it really that impressive? And what are the forms are we actually really going to get out of God Ki, other than like Super Saiyan Blue, Kaioken, and everything like this? We're kind of getting past the stage where it really had any effect. Back in the days when we used to think of Saiyan Beyond God and all that, those kind of terminologies that we had going on, where, like, you know, if they transformed into a Super Saiyan, whilst using God Ki, it became Super Saiyan Blue, and the standard kind of form prior to that was red when it wasn't mastered. That was our understanding of it at the time, but then when they started transforming into regular Super Saiyans while still utilizing God Ki, it just kind of stopped making sense. God Ki got really messy, and then the concept of them going forward with further transformations really just seemed unlikely. So I think it would be healthy for them to sort of like stray away from all of these different kinds of God transformations and focus mainly on the ones like, for instance, that Broly's been tapping into and stuff. It was already alluded to slightly with Kale with the Berserk form when Vegeta was going, "Is this the Saiyan's true form?" etc. at the Tournament of Power. And we had, like I said, we had all of these other things that were going on with Trunks, etc. But they've all caught up or sort of stayed in line with Goku and Vegeta. So is God Ki even relevant anymore?
It is interesting that you say that, because ever since Dragon Ball Super started, and I'm not even talking about Dragon Ball Super as a whole, you could also rope in all the movies as well that have anything to do with this story. They've only fought in one god. One god. Like, everyone else has been mortal who's been able to keep up not only with their godlike strength, but the gods in general. I mean, Frieza is going up against people like Toppo or Jiren. Toppo and Jiren are godlike entities, really, and Toppo was the closest we got for them attacking or fighting a god ever since Battle of Gods, which I always kind of said that like Toppo would have been a better end villain there because it would have brought the entire series full circle where Goku or them are able to team up and take on a god of destruction and actually win, but I digress. The thing is, it's weird that this was the thing that really started Dragon Ball, down the same road. Like people, excited to see the new movie when Battle of Gods came out, then Fugatsu no F, and then the new series, focusing on that God transformation, the way that they were going to expand the Dragon Ball series, increase the storylines with multiverse and everything else like that. But ever since then, we've only gotten one true God fight with Beerus that was more like a student-teacher match than an actual, like, we have to save the world match. And ever since then, Goku and Vegeta have been put through a lot of threats with people with either techniques, transformations, or just straight up ability to match their God Ki at every single turn.
Also, just before people mention it, because people will mention it, because they always will do, we know that Goku also fought Beerus technically a second time when he was dressed as Monaka, but that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
It also is worth mentioning that, yes, we also understand that Zamasu was a god, but we're talking more along the lines of gods of destruction, gods that actually have that amount of power. Yes, Zamasu was a god, but he wasn't powerful. He had to become immortal and also fuse with Goku, which kind of makes him mortal. I mean, that was the whole point. Like, they were able to destroy half his body because it was mortal. You know what? That's weird. But okay,
we're going off on a different topic
just throw that away. The point being, I think that these transformations are going to go by the wayside because Goku and Vegeta, especially now with Broly showing them the way, I guess. Show me the way.
Do you know the way?
Do you know the way? Okay, so, yeah, like I said, stupid fun discussions. Okay, but as soon as they see this, I'm sure they're going to be like, okay, maybe we can reach that power as well, because Broly is nothing in any iteration of the character than pure energy, pure strength with no downside to any transformation that he takes on. And we've seen time and time again in Dragon Ball Super that the God transformation is straining on Goku and Vegeta. They try their best not to use it when it's not necessary. If Broly's transformation doesn't have that problem. And it's kind of similar to Super Saiyan 4, if you remember GT. And I know this isn't a GT discussion, and I know Super Saiyan 4 isn't canon, blah, blah, blah. But I think that Super Saiyan 4 had the exact same long-lasting potential, easier to bring out for them. He stayed in that form for days as they were trying to get everybody off Earth and onto Planet Tuffle. But to me, that's what it feels like they're going for. Like, they're going to introduce Broly, this transformation, and as much as everyone wants to say that this transformation is going to be specific to Broly, I have my doubts. I feel like we're going to see the next evolution and the next transformation set for everybody, at least the Saiyans, Goku and Vegeta, in the next series of the show, or just whatever the next continuation is, and we're going to start walking away from God Ki, because as you said, God Ki competing with the gods, at least on their level, using their energy, kind of does write them into a corner because they can only go up against so many people.
Yeah, it really does. And I mean, it's not only just that, but I mean, like, when you think of the fact that the original idea when Toriyama created the Kaioken for Goku was simply because he wanted Goku to have a technique that was different from everybody else's. And he kind of did that again when he brought in Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. But again, it wasn't really that far, it wasn't unique enough. It was just a power-up of Super Saiyan Blue. And eventually, at some point, Vegeta is going to have to get something, as he did in the anime, which was Super Saiyan evolution, and so it was just kind of like they're always going to need something. Now, with Goku having had Ultra Instinct but not mastered it, as the name, although the name is contradictory to that with mastered Ultra Instinct, but whatever. But with him not having mastered that, it is likely that he will master it in the next series or the next continuation of movies or whatever happens. And then it's very possible that Vegeta will get his own transformation, or something that is sort of aided by the discovery of how Broly taps into his power. Now, as you already mentioned, the way that Broly taps into his power and sort of tapping into that Uzaru form in its own sort of right. It's not directly an Uzaru form, just so people don't start going, what? But it's very reminiscent of what they did in GT. Now, you can sort of twist it in many different ways, as the fact that because they pulled Goku's tail out, obviously, for him to transform into Super Saiyan 4, which could be the same premise that they go for in this next continuation or whatever, because of course Broly still has his tail. So this kind of really makes it well, actually, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah, he does.
I'm pretty sure he does, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that really does kind of insinuate the fact that it's probably going to have something to do with the tail being there again. Because there are so many things that have happened because of the tails, you know, and so many things that couldn't happen because of the tails. And now that they've got past this kind of block and they were able to sort of overcome the power that they had before with the tail, now if they were to get it back, it might unlock certain other powers, etc. And they really do like bringing things back in Dragon Ball after a break of time. So after so much time has passed, they'll bring it back. Now, Super Saiyan 4, as we say, isn't canon, etc., blah, blah, blah. Toriyama didn't create it, no, but Toriyama was a fan of the form. He did draw it himself because he enjoyed the form so much, which really goes to say, because he does take in some of the things that people do as fans. Now, Toyotaro, when he was known as Toyball, made Dragon Ball AF, and he had a very similar... It took a very similar storyline to the Zamasu arc. Now, that was written into Dragon Ball Super because Toriyama liked it, and it is a very similar process that could happen with Super Saiyan 4. Now, I don't know. I don't want to sort of put my hand up and suggest that they're going to bring in something similar, but they very well could do. I strongly doubt we would see something along the lines of Super Saiyan 4, and I strongly doubt it would be called Super Saiyan 4, because I know Toriyama doesn't want to touch or tread on the toes of GT as much as it doesn't fit in anymore. He still doesn't want to start like taking things directly from it, and I can respect that. So I think if we were to get something, it would be something quite similar for that, and perhaps it would only be specific to Vegeta.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, whether it's specific to Vegeta or not, I think the coolest thing you could do, because Broly's form is like the Super Saiyan eyes or something, like yellow eyes, but he retains his regular form. It's not unlike Ultra Instinct, really. You can put like an aura around and have a different type of eye set, but actually still have your hair and everything else kind of perfect. To me, that's kind of cool. Like, I would really like to see them utilize that. I'm not looking for the ultra buff Vegeta or Goku form. I feel like
grade 3, yeah.
Yeah, it really wouldn't work, you know. But just having them have something similar to a Super Saiyan 4, I think would be pretty cool. Whether it's Vegeta's only technique, like he can do it, no one else can, or Goku and Vegeta both figure out how to do it. Especially if Vegeta goes on some kind of a journey or quest, or gets Bulma to help him bring out the tail again, kind of like they did in Dragon Ball GT. That would be kind of cool, I think. Like, it would allow him and Bulma to have somewhat of a story arc together. He would be pushing himself in a way that no one's pushed themselves before, and like you said, liking a certain type of the story or a certain element of another story and bringing it into Dragon Ball is not unheard of when it comes to Toriyama or his plans for Dragon Ball in general. So that, to me, that's a really awesome idea. It's something I would love to see them explore in the future, and just having Goku and Vegeta step away from these transformations that a lot of people, myself and yourself included, during Dragon Ball Super thought they might have overused this transformation way too quickly. They introduced one transformation with Red, they got rid of it almost immediately, never really brought it back besides in the Tournament of Power, and then they introduced Blue almost immediately thereafter, both in the movies and in the series, with hardly any explanation, and then they just simply overused it, Goku going it every single time. And yes, there was a reason for him to go up against Gohan or Krillin or 18 or anybody else using Blue, because he wanted to test them. We're going to go into this tournament and fight all these people. We don't know how strong they are, so I'm going to see how you compete with this amount of energy. It makes sense in context, but at the same time, we're seeing it too often, and we're seeing it be put against people who don't deserve that power. And so when we actually do see Goku go through that transformation, it was a little bit underwhelming, and we didn't realize, or it didn't feel like there was a huge difference in power between people like Gohan, and then when he first uses against Jiren, despite Jiren not even really flinching to the power of Super Saiyan Blue. And they had to introduce something else like Ultra Instinct almost immediately thereafter, because it had worn out its welcome. Not just Super Saiyan Blue, but Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken and everything else that they did in the series to keep the transformations unique and powerful. And just moving away from that, kind of allowing for a restart, something completely different and more tied to the Saiyan heritage after Dragon Ball Super Broly, I think that would be an interesting way and direction to take the show.
But yeah, I completely agree. I think it would be a really fresh, in an ironic sense, really, it would be a fresh way to take the show away from the God Key and all this kind of stuff, show how far it's actually come on its own feet. And when we've come, I think during the Super Broly movie, we are going to see that the God forms weren't able to be utilized to their full potential against Broly, and it does show their weaknesses, and it will show how Goku and Vegeta need to work and build up their own forms again, and so to go back to the drawing board and start again to get this power, because clearly God Key isn't necessarily the thing that's leading them there. It didn't help them in the Tournament of Power because Goku needed Ultra Instinct, and it's not helped them against Broly because they needed Fusion. So, well, spoiler alert, but we already knew that.
It's in the advertisement, but I agree. I completely agree, and we're gonna leave it there, guys. I hope everyone has enjoyed this discussion. Don't forget to go down to the description section below. Go hit that link and follow World King Kanji because he makes some really fun, awesome content. Show him some love. Also, go down and follow both of us on Twitter. It's so much easier for us to talk to you guys on Twitter, and we're always on there, always willing to have a conversation about Dragon Ball or anything else, so make sure to go do that if you haven't already. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Please subscribe to this channel, hit that bell for the notifications if you haven't. It's been real.